Clerkenwell, East Central London. The streets are quiet at first glance. Rows of Georgian terraces, the faint hum of traffic, the occasional figure crossing the market square. But beneath the familiar hum of city life in the 1980s, a different kind of empire was quietly taking shape. Terry Adams and his brothers, Thomas Adams and Patrick Adams, known as Tommy and Patsy, were building a criminal dynasty that would stretch from the back streets of Islington to the glittering frontiers of international drug trafficking, gold bullion thefts, and London's highest echelons of power. Dubbed the Clerkenwell Crime Syndicate, or simply the A-Team, the Adams family became, according to media reports, one of the United Kingdom's most formidable crime organisations, with a personal fortune estimated at over £200 million. Their story is not just one of violence and illegal enterprise, it is also a tale of cunning, intelligence, and the careful orchestration of a public persona that masked the deadly efficiency of their operations. Terry, Tommy, and Patsy Adams grew up in a sprawling Irish family of 11 children in Barnsbury, Islington. The streets they knew were crowded, vibrant, but unforgiving. Early brushes with petty crime were almost a rite of passage, but the Adams brothers showed an unusual aptitude for leadership, loyalty, and ruthless efficiency. By the 1980s, the trio had formalized their operations into a syndicate, recruiting relatives and childhood friends and basing themselves in Clerkenwell, a district that offered both anonymity and access to London's underworld and legitimate business fronts. Terry Adams, the oldest, would emerge as the figurehead, intelligent, charming, and outwardly respectable. His careful cultivation of a genteel image, tailored suits, antique collections, and gallery visits belied the violence and the enterprise that he directed from the shadows. Tommy handled the finances, international connections, and at times, the logistics of illicit trades. Patsy, the enforcer, ensured that the threats were acted upon, debts were collected, and rivals remained in their place. Together, they operated like a corporate board, running a business whose capital was fear and illegal profit. By the 1990s, the Adams Syndicate had diversified into the type of organised crime that had attracted national attention: drug trafficking, money laundering, and the hijacking of gold bullion shipments. Reports linked the family to the infamous Brinks MAT robbery in 1983, and while no convictions directly tied them to the stolen gold, investigative journalism and police sources repeatedly note their alleged involvement in laundering the proceeds through legitimate channels: the Hatton Garden businesses, West End nightclubs, and restaurants in Smithfield. The syndicate's network was not only London-wide. Tommy Adams, according to press accounts, had arranged an $80 million credit line from Colombian drug cartels, linking the family to the international cocaine trade. Terry Adams, meanwhile, used front companies, antique dealerships, and other white-collar businesses to obscure the flow of illicit funds. MI5, in a first-of-its-kind collaboration with the Metropolitan Police, reportedly bugged Terry for 18 months from a secret Hertfordshire location, monitoring his communications and financial transactions. The Adams family's criminal empire has been extensive, with activities spanning various illegal enterprises. They had been linked to at least 25 gangland murders, often targeting informants and rival criminals. Their operations included hijacking gold bullion shipments, security fraud, developing alleged connections to Metropolitan Police officers and a British Conservative MP. In 2014, a significant police operation known as Octopod led to the arrest of 14 individuals associated with the syndicate, including Tommy Adams. The operation uncovered designer watches, firearms, and large sums of cash, highlighting the group's continued involvement in serious criminal activities. The Adams family's power relied not just on financial cunning, but on a reputation for violence. Patrick Adams, or Patsy, gained a notoriety as an enforcer capable of extreme acts, including high-speed motorcycle-assisted attacks and shootings. In 2013, he shot an associate in Clerkenwell, an act for which he was later sentenced to 9 years in prison. The syndicate was linked to murders ranging from informants to rivals. High-profile targets included the shooting of Mad Frankie Fraser, the former Richardson gang enforcer, in 1991, though Fraser later stated that the attack may have been the work of rogue police. Enforcers such as Gilbert Winter and advisors like Sauna Home, a diamond merchant, were critical to their operations. Winter disappeared mysteriously in 1998, while Nahome was assassinated outside his Finchley home the same year, underlying the ever-present risk that came with the business. These losses, however, did little to slow the syndicate's operations. If anything, they reinforced its reputation for lethal and precision silence. In the syndicate's peak years, it seemed untouchable. Jury intimidation, alleged bribery of legal professionals, and careful distancing from violent acts allowed the brothers to operate in a grey zone between enforcement and legitimate business. Observers described them as having undermined the justice system until the coordinated efforts of MI5 and the Crown Prosecution Service eventually brought convictions. By the 2000s, the law had finally started to catch up. Terry Adams was arrested in 2003 and in 2007 admitted to money laundering, receiving a 7-year prison sentence. He also faced financial ruin. He was ordered to repay £4.8 million in legal fees and £800,000 in prosecution costs. He's been released and recalled multiple times. He spent the following decade navigating court orders and asset recovery claims, including a repayment of £725,000 under the Proceeds of Crime Act. Terry Adams was convicted for an £8 million hash smuggling operation in 1998 and later for money laundering in 2017, remains under surveillance in Spain. Patsy Adams, after 6 years in exile in Spain, was extradited to face criminal charges in the UK. The syndicate's operational reach diminished, but its reputation for ruthlessness and cunning remained intact. While the Adams family's influence is believed to have waned since the early 2000s, their legacy persists. Law enforcement agencies, including MI5, have dedicated significant resources to dismantling their operations. Despite their convictions and the confiscation of assets, the full extent of their wealth and influence remains the subject of speculation. The syndicate's transition into white-collar crime, such as involvement in large-scale tax fraud schemes, indicates their adaptability and continued relevance in the criminal underworld. Their ability to operate across various sectors and evade full accountability underscores the challenges faced by authorities in eradicating organized crime. What makes the Clerkenwell Crime Syndicate compelling is the mixture of myth and reality. Media reports credit them with a fortune of over £200 million and dozens of murders, though many of them remain unproven in court. They exemplify a shift in organised crime, moving from local gangs to transnational, financially sophisticated networks, blending street violence with global commerce. Yet, as with many criminal dynasties, their story is also human. It's a story of a family bound by loyalty, operating under an ethos of secrecy and survival, and ultimately brought low by the very institutions that they sought to manipulate. The streets of Clerkenwell, once echoing with the power of the Adams, now carries whispers of their deeds, some true, some exaggerated, but all contributing to the enduring legend of London's most notorious family firm. This has been a deep dive by Crimeline Reports. Join us again.